that is going on because of the comments of Sophie Cunningham about the expansion of the WNBA is hilarious. Oh my goodness. The crashing out being done by people over her comments make me freaking laugh. And what makes it even funnier is the reality that the league is in a CBA situation. They're trying to create money for ownership by selling new franchises to put money into the pockets of the owners. Think about that, players. You should be fighting against expansion. That's the reality. That's the reality. You should be fighting against expansion of your league. You should be fighting for 15-player rosters. That's what you should be fighting for. Yes, more money, absolutely. But the crash out involving the comments of Sophie Cunningham about Detroit, I don't. Let's play the comments for her from her. Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Rudy's Rant, Her Game, Her Way, Women's Basketball. We talk facts over feelings. I'm your host, Rudy Rodriguez. Show my like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts, man. Appreciate all y'all continued support. We will be back here tonight, post game, after the game versus the Aces. Let's talk about it here. WNBA has decided to expand from 12 to 18 teams over a 5-year period. Already got one team this year. You got 2 teams next year. And over the next 3 seasons or 4 seasons, you're going to have 3 more teams. So you got Golden State right now. Next year, Toronto and Portland. Next year after that, you're going to, or the year after that, Cleveland or Detroit or Philly. And then it's Cleveland, Detroit, however they bring it in. But by 2030, they want to have 18 teams. Yeah. A league that doesn't make money. So you know what they're doing? They're selling new teams. People, that's what they're doing. That's the way the owners are making bread. That's how the owners are justifying the BS. They'll sell new French franchises for the $250 million, or $300 million, or $500 million, and they'll divide that amongst themselves. That doesn't go to players. At least it doesn't in the NBA. So I can only presume it's pretty much the same thing in the WNBA. I'm assuming. I'm pretty sure players don't get $1 of that money. But yet they still have 12-player rosters. They have situations with teams where they have 10 players. They have hardship contracts. The silliest crap on earth. And everyone gets hurt feelings about Cunningham's comments. Let's play her comments for you. I'm sure you've heard them by now, but I'm going to play them for you. So here's what Sophie Cunningham had to say about everything. Take a listen.
NBA side because it is sports. It's way more helpful. You just get more perks, more opportunities, and so I get that aspect. But I also think that you want to listen to your players too. Like where do they want to play? Where are they going to get excited to play and draw fans? And I do think that Miami would have been a great one. Like everyone loves Florida. Nashville is an amazing city. Kansas City, amazing opportunity. There's a huge arena downtown that no one's using. And I think that the women's soccer league is showing that like people draw, and so I'm not so sure what the thought process is there. But at the end of the day, you also want to make sure that you're not expanding our league too fast. I think that's also another thing that you don't want teams to totally dominate and then have teams that aren't. And so I just think that it's kind of a hard decision making team or situation. But man, I don't know how excited people are to be going to Detroit or Cincinnati. NBA side.
Yeah, I mean, the comment right there is I don't know how many people are going to be excited about going to Detroit. Well, Detroit had a response to Sophie Cunningham. Detroit had a response to Cunningham. They didn't like what she had to say about their raggedy ass city. No offense, people, but Detroit's a raggedy ass city. I mean, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but the city of Detroit. I don't know if you've seen any documentaries on Detroit, but city of Detroit is not a city that is booming. It's going. I mean, you can take a look at the fact that city of Detroit is literally 1/3 the size of what it was 75 years ago. Population is under 700,000 now as of 2023. It's lost so many people. The automotive industry went poof in Detroit, and people left. People have left Detroit. That's the reality. And while the Detroit Shock were a good team that won championships, um, City of Detroit can post whatever they want. But this is what the City of Detroit had to say, which I think is rather funny because for how long did Detroit struggle to even put a competitive football team on the field? Yes, Dan Campbell has changed Detroit Lions, but how many years was it before Detroit won a playoff game? I mean, people would go with bags over their heads to games, right? Let's remember that. Let's take a look
It's went
right
well.
here.
You just get
Okay, we already played that. This is the comment. The last time we were home to a WNBA team, the Detroit Shock, we ranked top 5 in attendance for 5 straight seasons, number 1 in attendance for 3 straight seasons, and set a single game attendance record of 22,076 fans at Game 3 of the 2003 WNBA Finals. Disingenuous. Well, I'll tell you why. Additionally, more than 775,000 people were excited to come to Detroit for the NFL draft in 2024. Detroit is a sports town where we're sure we'll see the same excitement for the WNBA returning. All right. I'm not, I know what I've read. Why did the Detroit Shock leave? They got sold because the owner, from what I recall, died. And let's go pull it up. They relocated to Tulsa, and I believe that was because their owner died. Now, are you telling me with a team? Because remember, disingenuous in the way in what they said. So in 2003, the Detroit Shock won the WNBA Finals with Bill Laimbeer as the coach. Why didn't the city of Detroit talk about 98, 99, 2000, 2001, 2002? I can assure you they were not top in attendance in those years. Not when they were terrible. I don't want to hear it. I don't believe it. I know it's complete nonsense. So you're number one in attendance for 3 straight seasons instead of again number one. Maybe they were number one the next 3 years, but them first 4 years, 5 years, pretty sure they weren't number one. Let's also remember they came into the league when the league was brand new. WNBA wasn't considered shit at that time. It was actually decent at that time, right? So if you have something that's decent at that time and people are interested in it, that's different than what we had over the last 20 years. Now, you can disagree with me. I don't care, really. 2004, they lose in the semifinals. 2005, they lose in the semifinals. Then 2006, they win the finals again. 2007, they lose the finals. 2008, they win the finals. 2009, they lose in the final. They lose in the conference finals. They won 3 championships. Bill Laimbeer as their head coach. And they moved after that. But let's, again, be real. Let's not sugarcoat the reality. You couldn't find somebody in Detroit to buy that team. Tell me why. Team was so great. Tell me why you failed to find someone to buy that team in Detroit. But let's also pay attention to why the Detroit Shock left. The Detroit Shock left, relocated to Tulsa, primarily due to financial losses and declining attendance in Detroit. The team's owner, Bill Davidson, passed away in 2009, and his wife Karen began selling assets from his estate, including the Shock and the Detroit Pistons. The team was losing around $2 million per season in Detroit, and the economic downturn in the region contributed to the decision to relocate. Remember, you just told us, Detroit, that you have all these people that care about your team, but yet the team lost money and the attendance was declining despite the fact that your team was actually good. That, like, think about that. Your team was actually good and people were not going. Now, I'm also going to give you statistics. In 2003, the Detroit Shock, home attendance was 7,861.59. 7,861.59. Does that sound familiar? So they're raving about their attendance, but it was in that year, 2003, the year that they won the WNBA finals. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. It was ninth in the league. All right. 2004, their attendance goes up to 9,462.35. So it's fourth now in '04. Let's go look at '05. It was third, 9,373.88. Remember the size of the building, 22,000. They led the league in attendance in '06, 9,642.59.59. '07, they lead again, 9,749.29. '08, they lead again, 9,568.76. So they led the league in attendance 3 straight years, as they said. And then 2009, they dropped to 8,010.82. So it was their attendance, no matter what you want to say, did decline. It declined literally overnight from 95, almost 9,600 to 8,000 overnight in one season, despite the fact that they had just won two of the last three championships and were the defending champs. The economy in Detroit is garbage. And I'm not happy saying that, but the economy in Detroit is bad. There's situations in Detroit that, let's be, and so what happens? They got moved. The owner's wife sold off assets. She didn't like the idea of losing money. She didn't like the idea of losing money, and they were losing $2 million a year despite being in the top five in attendance. Imagine you're losing money when you're top five. See, that's the disingenuous part. Detroit, let's tell the world. We were number one in attendance for 3 straight seasons. You were averaging less than 10,000 fans a game in a 22,000 seat building. Are you fucking joking? Your broke ass city can't support it. How many people? I don't even know. I don't even know. The, so the Detroit Pistons, as an example, right now, this year they had a good year and they moved up in their attendance. And even being good, they're still second. I don't know where they rank because they don't have this thing averaged out, but they average 19,000 fans a game, which is still not a sellout. They're still having 1,000 empty unsold tickets per game. This is the Detroit Pistons, and they had a good team. Year before, they were 15th in attendance, averaging 18,000. Year before that, they were 12th, averaging 18,500. Year before that, 22, they were 20th, averaging 16,184. Shall we go on? 21. I'm not going to use that. That's COVID. 20 is COVID. 20 for the games they played. The Detroit Pistons attendance was 28th in the league, 15,438. Let's go take a look at 2019, another season there. Let's go look there. They were 24th, averaging 16,046. So this Detroit area does not support you at all if you don't win. Clearly by the Detroit Pistons. And the Detroit Lions, I don't even want to know what their attendance was when they weren't winning. I have no idea. I'm not even going to look it up. But I looked up the Detroit Shock, and the Detroit Shock had had a 60% empty building. Every game was played 60% empty. They're curtaining off upper decks. They're not selling tickets, but they're going to sit here with a disingenuous tweet and say that they had the one game that had the attendance record. Great. And you know what? And you led the league. You were top five in attendance for 5 straight years, and you were number one for 3 straight years, and you still didn't average 10,000 fans a game. Number one was not even 10,000 fans. Literally looks no different than the dog shit that we've been looking at over the last 10 years prior to Caitlin Clark arriving on the scene. Like, this is truth here. Let's go look at 2000. Let's go look at 98. In 1998, the Detroit Shock, this is when the WNBA was still actually hot. They averaged 10,229 in 98. In 99, they went down to 84 because they weren't any good. In 2000, they averaged 67-15 in 2001. This man was losing his shirt every freaking year, people. They were second to last, 68-34. In 02, they were last in the league in attendance at 58-85. So they can sit here and get on the podium and tell you, oh my God, we did all this with attendance. Man, your attendance for 5 years was fucking awful. Fucking horrible. You got good, and then, yeah, people came. And yet, in 03, the leading team in attendance was the Mystics at 14,000. But now we get an 04. 04, they were up to 9,400. They had a bump because they got good, 9,300. They're still not number one. 06, they're number one at 9,600. 07, they're 9,700. 08, they dropped to 95, 68. And then 09, they dropped back to 8,000. Their team is relocated. The wife does not want to lose money. It was a loss. They lost money on this venture. That's why they moved. Do not sit here and tell people that you are like anyone, like people cared. People didn't care then, even when they were winning. Even when they were winning, they would rather watch a 20-62 Pistons team than watch the WNBA. 16, 17,000 people still go to a Pistons game despite the fact that they were awful for a long time. They'd rather watch that. So go ahead, bring another damn team. And so Sophie Cunningham is a problem because she says what's reality. Now, what I disagree with her on, and I'm fair, the Miami Soul were a disaster. Disaster. Disaster, folk. I'm serious. I lived it. I was here. People didn't go to those games either. And they still say that they claim that they average 8,000. I went to a game. I didn't see 600 people in the building when I went. Yeah, these numbers are lies. I'm telling you right now, I went to a Miami Soul game. I sat like third row for like $5 back in 2000. Like, come on, bro. Come on, dude. No, Miami does not want a women's basketball team. Miami will not support a women's basketball team. As Miami only supports winners. They sell out every Heat game, but yet the Miami Heat will play in front of 5,000 empty seats every game. The Miami Dolphins have been a train wreck for 25 years. The Florida Panthers, believe it or not, if you look back 10 years ago, couldn't put 10 people into the building. They're champions now, and everybody wants to be there, but let them fall off and people will stop going. Trust me. Trust me on that. They were begging people to come. They would have games where there was 8,000, 9,000 people in a 20,000 seat arena. That's where the Panthers were a decade ago. Hell, maybe 8 years ago. This area does not support losers. When the Miami Hurricanes were the best in the planet, they still couldn't sell out every weekend. For a decade, they were the best team on the planet in college football. You could not, they would sell out a few, but those games that weren't Florida State, Notre Dame, Florida, Oklahoma, Nebraska, those big time opponents, if they weren't a big time opponent, they were 50,000 people in an 80,000 seat Orange Bowl. I lived it. So I disagree with her on the Miami Soul thing. Yeah, they like the sun, they like all that shit, but no one's going to go to these games. I'm telling you right now. You'll have 6,000 people there. Maybe the first year there'll be some excitement behind it, but I can tell you this. Getting to the Kaseya Center in Miami is a nightmare. It's a nightmare. In fact, you'd be better off getting a deal with the Miami Hurricanes and playing in Coral Gables. You would be better off playing in Coral Gables at the University of Miami and making a deal with the Hurricanes because their arena seats 8,000 people or something like that. Somewhere around 9,000. That would be the wiser decision because they would lose their shirts at the Casillas. Mickey Harrison doesn't want to go into luxury tax for the Miami. He better not consider this. I mean, it'd be insane. And so at the end of the day, when you look at expansion, what is wrong with what she said? Care about your players, because the players that are in your league are the ones that need the support. They don't need more teams. The talent is already thin. The talent largely is already trash. You want to divide it by more teams and bring in more bad basketball players from the college ranks? They're gonna lie to you, man. They're gonna sit here and lie to you and tell you, oh, we ranked whatever, but yet you ranked whatever and you still lost your shirts because you didn't fill up half the building. You didn't fill up half the building. Don't even let me get into the conversation of the crime in Detroit, the poverty in Detroit, the economic issues in Detroit. Go Google Detroit right now and ask for go look at a documentary on Detroit and the problems financially for the city. Didn't Detroit file bankruptcy as a city at one point? I'm pretty sure they did. Detroit, 2013, filed Chapter 9 bankruptcy, becoming the largest municipal bankruptcy filing in U.S. history. This is after the city accumulated an estimated 18 to 20 billion in debt. And you want to come on, dude. And you and you want to you want to bring a team back there, a women's basketball team? I'm not an expert on this shit. I by no means. Cleveland, ridiculous. You want to again, let's go to cities we've already been to where it's been a failure. That makes no sense. Cleveland, Detroit. What's the other one they just said? Didn't Portland have a team at some point, if I recall correctly? I might be mistaken. Yeah, Kansas City. Yeah. How about it? They never had a team. Give them a shot. Yeah, Nashville. Again, have they had a team? I don't think so. Give them a shot. It's definitely a better. I mean, hey, for those of you from Detroit, man, you don't be offended by this shit. This is reality. I live in Miami. I don't want a team down here because I know what's going to happen. I already know what's going to happen. People are going to be excited for a 3 months and then they're not going to go, if that. And if they're not good, they'll be giving them tickets away. This isn't freaking San Francisco where they care. Trust me on that one. Trust me on that one. But hey, I agree with Sophie Cunningham on most of it. I just don't agree with that one particular thing. And talking about the NFL draft, they drew in more people to their city than live in their city for the draft. And you know what those people all did after the draft? They went home. They didn't move to Detroit. They went home. They fucking went home. Like you act like they moved there. There's been Super Bowls in Detroit. People go home. People don't. I've been to Detroit, by the way, so I can give you firsthand personal experience. I've been to Detroit. It is a place that I would not go back to. No offense, people. I guarantee you come to Miami, though. But you're not going to come to Miami to go watch a women's basketball game. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts in the comments. I got no problem with what Sophie Cunningham said. Zero whatsoever. They want to be sensitive about it. Get a fucking grip. Your attendance was garbage, and you're trying to paint a picture that you really support it. A city that has no money. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Y'all like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. And by the way, this is a selfish move by the ownership. Owners want to get paid. This isn't about the players. Fuck the players. That's what they're saying. They're telling their players, fuck you. You can't draw shit. That's why we're selling off more franchises. Because we need to make more money in our pockets to offset the losses that you brought us over 28 years. That's what they're telling the players. If that is not a shot in the player's face, and the crying that Satu Sabali is also doing about how she doesn't feel this is a slap in the face. No, you know what a slap in the face is losing 50, $100 million for over 28 years because your product doesn't draw shit. And that's what the owners have done in this league. They've lost their shirts. That's why teams contract. Teams don't contract when you're making profit. Stop. Again, like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, leave a comment. Appreciate y'all. This is Rudy's Rant, her game, her women's basketball. Come on now.